Hey girl, welcome to Rooted Radiance, the women's health podcast dedicated to helping you improve your health, grow, and radiate with confidence. Let's be honest, most New Year's resolutions fail. Not because you're not motivated, but because the way that we set them sets us up for disappointment. In this episode, I'll share the top mistakes women make with New Year's resolutions and the strategies to finally make 2026 the year your goals turn into lasting habits. So, before we dive into the mistakes that I see people make with New Year's resolutions and goals, I thought it would be interesting to go over just some data that compares the most common resolutions for 2025 and 2026. So I'm going to pop this up. I'm on Statista right now. I think that's how you pronounce it. And if you're watching the video, you can actually see this chart. If you're just listening along, I will describe this for you as well. But pretty much this is going to show the most common New Year's resolutions for people in the United States. They made it for 2025 and for 2026. So pretty sure most of this data, it said that it was captured between October and toward the end of, I believe it's November for each of those years. So when people were starting to think about their New Year's goals for the end of the year, they captured that in a poll and then shared it, posted it online. So what's really interesting, so this chart here shows that the 2025 goals are in blue, and this dark kind of navy black bar is for the 2026 data. So, one of those most common New Year's resolutions is to exercise more. And that jumped up from 42% for 2025 to 48% in 2026. So, more people want to exercise. And another area was to save more money. In 2025, that was 52% wanted to do that. And for 2026, it actually went down to 46%, which is really quite interesting because of just the current economy right now, what's going on, and how most everything has been more expensive than the previous year. So I'm actually really surprised by that one. To eat healthier was pretty much about the same from year to year. To spend more time with family and friends. In 2025, that was 33%. It bumped up to 42% for 2026. So I thought that was interesting. To lose weight actually decreased this year. So 2025, 37% of people wanted to do that. In 2026, looks like 31% of people want to lose weight. So then there's some more in here, but these were the top ones. So to exercise more, to save money, to eat healthier, to spend more time with friends and family, to lose weight. Just want to share that with you because that was some really interesting data when I was getting ready for this episode of what I saw. So anyway, we all have good intentions when we set goals for the new year. The problem isn't the inspiration or the motivation to change, but the plan and methods to do it are. So, mistake number one that I see with people who set goals, could be New Year's resolutions, could be a goal later on in the year, is being overly ambitious. If you're overly ambitious, you're setting yourself up to fail and be a quitter. And you can be overly ambitious because maybe you're setting too many goals at once. And if you try to do too many things at once to change, it often backfires. And that's because change is hard. So if you're trying to change 3, 5, 10 things at once, it's just too much to handle. If you feel like one goal is starting to slip, it tends to have this domino effect, and then you just quit everything altogether. So instead of setting multiple goals, just hone in on one this year. What is one area you want to improve? Do you want to be more active? Do you want to improve your spending habits or save to put a deposit down on a home? Are you looking to lose weight? Even if you set one goal, sometimes you can set it to be too ambitious, that it adds too much pressure on yourself. This sets you up to fail too. So your goal needs to be attainable. In the new year, we all have good intentions, a lot of ambition, a lot of motivation, but we need to set reasonable goals. So set one goal, not too many, and set a reasonable, attainable goal, not too much. For example, if you say, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year, first of all. Feels a little daunting. That's a lot. And if you actually do the math on that, you would have to lose 1.8 pounds every single week for the whole year. That doesn't seem realistic. So instead of setting this large, ambitious goal, just set something smaller for yourself, something that feels reasonable, something that's attainable. So what if we said, I want to lose 20 pounds in a year? That's definitely attainable and that's reasonable. So if you have like an off week because there were a bunch of celebrations or you just had a hectic week, you're still able to hit that goal. Still feels attainable and reasonable, and you will keep going in that right direction. With a large, daunting goal, you will want to just throw in the towel if you have one off week. Do you see what I mean? That was mistake number one. Mistake number two is resolutions without reminders. The struggle to accomplishing your New Year resolution or goal is remembering it. And that might sound funny at first, but when you think about how busy our lives can get with work, with children, celebration, a girls' night out, cooking, cleaning the house, and everything else that takes up real estate in our heads, your goal can get lost and just pushed to the side. You need Tom, not a man, top of mind. You need to keep your goal on top of mind. So I want you to remember that, Tom, top of mind. I'm a firm believer in journaling, and it has personally really helped me in so many ways. Journaling and writing down your goal is one way that you can keep your goal top of mind. I'm going to actually give you some journaling prompts to use for the new year and some daily journaling prompts to help you keep it at the forefront of your mind. You can kind of filter through them throughout the week, but just doing this every single day can really help you to keep that, again, top of mind, Tom. Okay. So the first one is, if I could only accomplish one thing this year, what would make me proud? Second one could be, which area of my health or personal growth feels most urgent to address right now? And then the third, what goal excites me the most, not just today, but when I imagine myself in 6 months from now? Okay, now I'm going to go through some of those prompts for the daily remembrance. Number one is, what would my future self thank me for if I stayed consistent with my goal today? How will achieving this goal change the way I feel about myself? What's one obstacle I overcame recently that proves I can reach this goal? Why does this goal matter to me right now? So those are some prompts that you can use. Since kicking off this podcast, I really think that for each episode, I'll start writing some episode show notes for you just to make it easier so you don't really have to write all this down. Beyond journaling, another way to keep your goals top of mind is by using a vision board. I personally do this. I usually put it as my desktop background or on my phone wallpaper. And I actually made a little template with like one of my old vision board examples for you. So I'll put that in the description notes and show notes for you so that you have access to that, but I'll make it with a special link for you. What I want you to do is I want you to try to do one of those two things or both of them if you want. So journaling, using the journaling prompts, helping that to be top of mind for you before you go into the new year so that you know that one goal you want to do. And then also those daily prompts to help to push you forward and to keep it on top of mind as to why you wanted to do the goal in the first place. Outside of the journaling prompts, you could also do the vision board. Once again, I'll give you my little template. You can play around with it, add text where you want to, put pictures where you want to, just to make it a visual representation of something that is motivational for you, it inspires you, and helps you to see it. That helps you to remember that goal, that resolution that you want to do and you want to accomplish. You could do a digital one like I typically do, or you can do a physical one. I personally just like the digital ones because they're pretty quick to do, and I'm constantly on my laptop anyway for business. So it is something that I see continually every single day. Okay, so mistake number three is No plan, just wishful thinking. If you make a New Year's resolution and you don't have a plan, it's just wishful thinking. I said it. And yes, you need to hear it. You need a plan so that you know what you're going to do to reach the goal. So, using the example of weight loss again, if your goal is to lose weight, you're not just going to lose weight without a plan, right? You might include in a plan to log your food so that you know how much you're eating, so that you can stay in a calorie deficit. You might also plan to go for a walk in the mornings for 30 minutes to help you to be more active instead of just saying, I'm going to exercise more with logging food. See, you're setting plans and steps that you will do in order to succeed in that New Year's resolution. Or if your goal is reduce your financial debt, right? If you don't have a plan to pay off that debt, it's just wishful thinking. So you're going to have to assess that, figure out where your money's going to, what is crucial and what is unnecessary spending, reduce or cut out that unnecessary spending, and then start paying down that debt. But you can't do that unless you have a plan and know where your money is. And I could go on for so many other types of goals, but this goes for any New Year's resolution that you might want to make in 2026. Break down your goal into small, actionable steps that you need to take in order to get to your goal. So I'll give you some examples. Let's say that you want to exercise more by having a routine. So instead of just saying, I'm going to exercise more, you need to make a plan and some actionable steps to do that, right? So let's say that you looked at your schedule and you actually scheduled in your workouts on a weekly basis for 3 days during that week for you to go to the gym or your home gym and work out for an hour. And let's say on top of that, you plan to do strength training, full body for 45 minutes, and then 15 minutes on the elliptical. Those are actionable steps that you can do. It's a plan and it's attainable. Okay, another example could be if, let's say, you wanted to reduce stress and practice like healthy stress management outlets. So maybe some practical steps to do that is to maybe set aside 10 minutes a day for prayer or meditation. And maybe after your journaling prompts that, I'll give you, maybe you realize that you eat when you're stressed. So instead of not having a plan, maybe you make a plan to go for a walk when you're stressed, or maybe calling a friend to kind of vent about what you're stressed about instead of going to food, right? Those are actionable steps that you can do to combat stress and have healthy stress management outlets for yourself. Okay, another example could be maybe you want your home clean and just decluttered. Like maybe it just got super messy in 2025 and you've had it and you just want it clean and decluttered. Sounds daunting initially, so you gotta set some action steps in order to actually accomplish that. So maybe some of those action steps might be for you to choose maybe a room every single week to start decluttering and organizing. So you kind of go pick a room each week, and then you set aside some time, either within that week, say it's on a Saturday or something, to go through there and declutter and clean. And then you just hop around from room to room in your house to accomplish that. And maybe on top of that, maybe you plan every night to kind of go through and maybe tidy up your living room or kitchen as just part of your nightly routine. Right. So you have a couple things that you're doing. You have this large week kind of decluttered that's dedicated to get rid of items in every single room that you don't need, clean it up, get it organized. And then your daily night routine is just to ensure that those more day-to-day messes are kind of just kept up with. So I hope those examples were really helpful to just get you thinking of a plan you need to set out to do so that you can actually be successful in your New Year's resolution. Okay, mistake number 4 is expecting an overnight success. So many of us expect like instant results. And when we don't see that expected result come in just a couple of weeks, we can just get discouraged and quit. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Change is hard and change takes time. Expecting quick results is just setting yourself up for failure. I read the other week that the second week of Friday is now called Quitter's Day. It's actually recognized as that now. And I think there's a reason for that. And I think it's because we expect overnight success. Meaningful change is gradual because success comes from consistency, my friend. You're not going to lose 20 pounds in a month. Okay. And I don't want you to fall into that trap. I don't want you to quit. So, to not fall into this trap, I want you to start thinking about your goal like a marathon. Okay. You need to pace yourself. Change is not a sprint. And I don't want you gassing out the 2 weeks in January on Quitter's Day. I want you just to be cruising along in 2026. And in March, you're 90 days out, you're still on track. You've paced yourself and you've set your expectations of what's realistic and what's possible. Okay, mistake number 5 is going at it alone. If you're chasing a goal and going at it alone, you can definitely lose momentum. You don't have anyone to check in with, and support systems can really help motivate you again. Maybe that's working at the gym with a new friend, or maybe you wanted to learn a new skill. So maybe you go to some sort of class in your city with other people who want to learn that skill, and going to classes gives you that accountability and gives you other people around you who are also wanting to do the same thing. So it's crucial just not to go at this alone. I'd encourage you to find some sort of accountability partner. That could be, your spouse, a friend, a family member, or a professional coach. You have community, you have resources, and you have me as well. So I'll personally invite you to work with me one-on-one. If you would like that, I would love to hop on a free intro call with you. I'll put that information in the notes and description for you. I would love to personally coach you so that you don't feel alone, you get pushed to go further, and that you have that extra accountability. You can improve your health. You can change. You got to try again, girl, because you deserve it. Okay, so to recap for you real fast, we kind of went over a lot today. So we talked about 5 different mistakes that I see people make when they set New Year's resolutions or just goals in general. And we talked about how to avoid them. So, mistake number 1 that we went over was being overly ambitious. So, set one goal that is attainable and reasonable for you. And mistake number 2 was forgetting the goal. So, use vision boards or journaling, the journaling prompts that I gave you today, so that you can keep that at top of mind. Mistake number 3 is not having a plan and just having wishful thinking. So you need to make sure that you map out small steps that you can do so that you can actually attain your goal that you want to. And then mistake number 4 was expecting overnight success. Remember, real change takes time. Success takes consistency. So this is really just all about progress. It's not about perfection. Number 5 is going at it alone. So find some sort of accountability partner or support system to really help keep you motivated. And once again, if you want to hop on a free call with me, I will put that below for you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss out on future episodes. If you found any value from this podcast, please leave a 5-star review so more women like you can find this podcast. Thanks for spending time with me today. I can't wait to continue the journey with you. Until then, take care. Stay rooted in your goals, and I'll see you next episode.